Julia. My name is Caitlyn Hudson. You can call me Miss Caitlyn. I'm going to be your counselor today during this intake session, okay? I'd like to know more about you, but before we dive in, there's some paperwork that I need to go over with you. I want to start off by saying that this is a safe space. Whatever you say to me stays between me and you. The only time that I would have to break that is if you made statements that you were going to hurt yourself or others, or I had a court order where I had to go to court and talk about what was spoken in this session, or also if you were aware or made statements that there was harm to children or an individual that couldn't be taking care of themselves. With that being said, do you understand everything we just discussed?
Yes.
If you will, can you please sign this? It's a form stating that I discussed confidentiality with you and that you understand everything. So I want to start off by just asking you what's going in your life that made you want to come in today?
So I actually relapsed about 2.5 months ago.
Okay.
And I lost my kids, so that's why I'm here, because I just don't know what to do at this point in my life. I just feel defeated.
Overwhelmed and tired.
Yeah.
Is there anything that happened in your life that caused you to relapse?
I think just life in general right now. Everything's been really hard since I had gotten clean the last time, and I was out one night and just was the wrong place, wrong time, and ended up running into somebody, and by the end of the night I had started using again. I just kind of, didn't care in that moment, but it snowballed and now I just can't stop using again.
Do you have a history of drug abuse?
I do, yeah.
What's your drug of choice?
Heroin.
Are there any other drugs?
I've used kind of all types of drugs, so cocaine and alcohol and pills, really anything that I could get my hands on when I was in active addiction.
How long have you been using heroin before the relapse? Or before you're clean?
I've been using it since I was 15. Yeah, off and on. I'd get clean and then I'd relapse and then get clean and then I'd relapse.
What's the longest clean time that you have?
2.5 years.
You should be proud of that.
Yeah.
You said that you started doing drugs when you were 15 years old. Do you want to tell me more about your childhood and your adolescence?
My childhood was pretty good. I don't think I really got into any type of drugs or alcohol until I was around 10. I would always hang out with my older brother. And he started smoking pot at a really young age. He was like 13, 14, and he's 4 years older than me. So I just kind of was in that environment with him, always with him and hanging out. So I actually got high for the first time at 9 years old. So he had hotboxed me with friends and just constantly was in that environment with him. So I think that's kind of where it started.
Being at such a young age and having that influence can be a lot on you, especially with your mind still processing and growing and learning what's right and wrong. That can also affect you in your adulthood as well. How was school, like high school and stuff for you?
So high school was probably where it got to be the worst. I had great middle school years, and then in 8th grade, after graduating 8th grade, I was transitioning into high school, and I actually met my boyfriend, my first boyfriend, who was actually older than me, and he was selling pills, and his parents really didn't care what he did, so I would sneak out and go there on weekends, and that's when I think I first started doing Xanax my 9th grade year, and really was addicted to that and just kind of being in that environment. I think because it was kind of normal to me, because, you know, my brother and my sister, they kind of were always watching me. I was always around it. My mom was a bartender, so she was never really around at night, and that was just kind of the environment that I was used to at that age. So he definitely, my 9th grade year was probably the year that I really started getting into my addiction. Yeah, I think he, you know, and then it was kind of emotional. He used it as a way to kind of keep me around. And then I felt so bad that I started to obviously lash out and kind of look for alternative ways. So I was kind of, you know, cheating on him and going with other people, and I started to get bullied in high school actually for it. So
that can be a lot for somebody at such a young age as well, going through all that too.
Yeah, being bullied was probably the worst experience I had at that age. I started to get really depressed. I was suicidal. I started using drugs really bad, and I actually started lashing out, and was really, you know, that was led to my first hospitalization at DBH, and that was because I was suicidal. And then coming home from that, I really just was angry and started fighting and, you know, lashing out at the girls, and I ended up getting kicked out of the school that I was in.
You said that you had started doing pills at 15 with your boyfriend. Tell me more about that relationship with him.
He just, you know, we loved each other in our own way, but I really felt like he used it as a way to control me. You know, making me, holding out, like wouldn't give me any if we would argue, or, you know, would make up for it by giving me a lot. And I think that just kind of is where the emotional abuse started in, you know, in my life when it came to relationships. And then moving on from there, whenever I went to a new high school, I was really depressed and down, and that's whenever I really started using harder drugs than just pills.
Tell me more about what was going on in your life when you first started heroin.
I had switched schools. I couldn't really find friends, and then I ended up meeting a group of friends, and we, you know, I felt like I fit in. I felt like that feeling again of just like, these people get me, and we all kind of, you know, skipped school and used drugs together, and it just kind of was a snowball effect. And at the time, heroin wasn't a thing here, really. It was mostly just pills, and then we just kind of, again, wrong place, wrong time, and somebody, you know, brought it up, and we were just like, yeah, whatever, we'll do that. It was cheaper and easier to get, so just kind of fell victim to it then, just looking for that high.
It sounds like being the young age that you were and not lacking that parental supervision that an individual needs at that age, and being introduced to drugs at an early age caused you to lack confidence in yourself, which you were seeking drugs to help with them emotions that you were having, which now has caused an impact on your adult life as well.
Right.
So we're here today to try and figure out what steps do we need to take in order to make yourself aware of your actions and to make yourself love yourself again and be happy in your life.
Right.
And that's what I'm here to help you get to that point.
Thank you.
To where you are taking care of yourself emotionally, financially, physically, because that's what's most important is yourself and being happy. I want to know, tell me some of your strengths that you feel as though you have.
I think one of my biggest strengths would be my determination. I think, like I said, leading into high school, I kind of fell into peer pressure in my environment, and at one point I realized that I was so deep into my drug addiction that if I didn't stop, I was going to end up dying from it. And that actually scared me, and I was determined to not go out like that. I always did good in school. I was smart, I never really struggled with, grades, and I was just determined to get out of this hole that I knew that I was in. And I went to my parents actually through my guidance counselor then, and I told them that I was using heroin, and at that point, that was kind of the turning point where my parents finally became aware of what I was going through. And that's when the hospitalizations, started, where I would go to rehab and they got me clean, and then I would come home, and as a child, that was my normal. I was just looking for that feeling, so I just would constantly do that. But again, determined to just get clean. I always kind of had that in me, but I could never stay clean.
You understand that you succeeded in being clean before. Do you feel as though you can do it again?
I know I can. I think I just need, the tools and better resources for myself to be able to actually stay clean and become stable in my life so that I don't resort back to it again.
Well, we have resources here that can also help you with that. We have individual sessions we can do. We offer group sessions such as NA, AA, there's a women's group, there's a group on job seeking and stuff that will show you how to write a resume and all that. We also can get detox, anything. So that's the support that we can offer. Do you have any other support outside of here that also could be helpful during this process?
I think my mom is probably my biggest support. She actually has stepped up and is gonna take care of my kids while I'm getting help. Either that means, whatever that means I need to do. But she definitely, even over the years when I was getting clean, she never gave up on me. She always made sure that, even against my own will, would make sure that I was sent away or went to detox or was in, a drug school in high school to make sure that I was still, getting what I needed. So I am very grateful for her. She definitely is my biggest support. And my church is probably just as equally supportive. We have a group of girls, they're single moms who we get together once or twice a month to, and we do life together. We group text, and I'm very grateful for them. And we actually have a Celebrate Recovery group that I was going to and then stopped going to whenever I started getting high. So there's been many people that have reached out worried about me and trying to, make sure that I was okay. So I do feel like, and I know that that's a huge part of why I feel like I could get clean and stay clean again, because I have them as support. So
it's always good to have a key support system in this process, and it sounds like you have a really good support system. Even everything you're going through and all the traumatic things that you've been through, at the same time you can find relief because your kids are with your mom and safe and sound, and we can focus on getting you better to where you can be successful in life. You said that you have a good support system with your church. What are some of your religious beliefs that you have that you hold dearly to you?
So I am a Christian. I lean heavily on my faith to get me through a lot. I think that started back whenever I was first getting clean, when I was going to NA at 16, 17 years old. We always said serenity prayer, and I think I kind of just centered myself around a higher power really guiding me in my addiction and in my recovery more so. That, you know, being around other people in those everyday meetings where we would pray or we would lean on a higher power to help us get through it. That's a huge belief of mine. And I think also this past year I was baptized. And I think that's valuable to me because I know that that was a milestone of forgiveness in my life. And I think that although I feel ashamed and embarrassed, I'm grateful for my belief that I am forgiven again. And I think that's a huge thing that weighs in to me being determined that I know I can get clean again. And I also believe in just treating others how you're supposed to be treated. I think another one of my strengths, like you asked, would be that I'm genuinely a happy person, other than dealing with depression and anxiety and those things that I definitely like to brighten other people's days. I tend to, it's actually one of my weaknesses too, because I tend to let people and want to do for them, you know, so much that I lose myself in the process. Like this relapse, putting myself in a situation to help somebody else actually led to my own, you know,
Tell me
demise.
more about how helping someone else led you to the relapse.
I think just using my, like, people are like attracted, like people technically come to me with their problems a lot because they know that like I'm this happy person, and they kind of, you know, I'm positive and I'm always pouring positivity into other people, and I feel like a lot of times I give advice that I don't take for myself. And I felt like that night I was just kind of in a place where I was like, you know, you can get clean, and she was just telling me all of these things, and then I fell right back into, you know, meeting her where she was at. Instead of bringing people to where I'm at, I was, you know, compromising my own strength of, you know, I was sober, I was doing great, and I compromised it because I wanted her to feel okay, and that led me to now back into active addiction.
Even though you had this situation happen where you did relapse and everything, you still at the same time came in here today and are seeking the help and wanting to take the next steps in order to get that help. And you should feel proud of yourself for that. Now, I want to dive more into, I want you to tell me more about this, like feeling like you need to make people happy, like always making sure everyone else is around you is happy. Why do you feel as though you need to do that?
I felt like a lot of my own happiness comes from making other people happy. I feel like I've never really looked inside of myself to make myself happy. I always was looking for ways to do for others, as goes back to my beliefs of like, you know, even Jesus, like he did things for other people because that was who he was, you know. It wasn't about what it gave to him, it was always about him giving to others. And I think that that actually has, you know, I need to be in a better place to be able to give to others before I can do that. I feel like I just do it because it makes me feel good. It's almost like equivalent to that high that I get. That like, if I could do that for them, well, that it fills me with all this warm, fuzzy feeling, well, I did great for them, you know. But instead I need to do those things, I feel like, for myself so that I, you know, but I don't do that. I need help with that for sure.
What steps can we take to try and get more aware of that and trying to be more, I don't want to say selfish, but more in control of helping yourself instead of helping other people?
I feel like, as I learned before, like people's places and things, like I really need to like be around people that are positive like me, instead of, you know, somebody that can pour back into me, or being around like going to church or being around those people more, or being like in counseling. I think is going to be a great thing. But I'm sorry, can you ask the question again?
So I'm saying, what can we do here? What steps can we take that will help you and being more aware for yourself. And you said that you want to help everybody, you get satisfaction from helping everybody, but at the same time we need to focus on you. So what steps can we take to make sure that you're okay first before we help someone else?
I feel like boundaries would be a big thing for like that I need help with. I think creating boundaries for myself so that I don't step out of that to help others, that I do kind of focus more on myself at this point, because and I think also maybe I don't know, I'm hoping that creating a plan, definitely, I think.
Yeah.
A plan. I've never really had a plan in place to be able to create like stability in my life. It was just like surviving.
Because boundaries are important to have for yourself and for others, because we can't help everybody else if we're not okay.
Right.
So I feel as though maybe just taking baby steps and just starting with saying no. Do you have trouble saying no
I do.
to people?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like letting other people down is like, it hurts me to let other people down.
Fear that you have, letting people down.
And I think it comes from that acceptance of like, I want those relationships, but they're not always healthy, because I find myself being in different relationships where I couldn't say no, like being with my boyfriend, that, you know, I couldn't say no to him because I loved him. I wanted his acceptance because I never really had anybody that was there, you know, that really loved, that I felt like really loved me.
Tell me more about these relationships. Has there been others, or was it just specifically that one in high school that you had?
So I actually met my son's dad in drug school when we were in high school, and we fell in love, and it was really hard because we were both in a place where we had nothing to give to each other but love. We were both very vulnerable, both hurting, and we built a relationship on bonding over our hurt, right? That was something that we had in common, and then it led to, as time went on, I became that safe place for him to take all of his anger out on me.
So you were just letting him pour all his emotions in you and taking it all.
Right. Yeah. I was just constantly. It became a domestic violence situation where he was physically abusing me, and I just kind of, you know, I took it because I felt like he's just upset, or he's just mad, and made excuses for him, and I didn't have those boundaries where I would say, no, I don't deserve this. I just felt like for whatever reason it was.
So you were allowing him to pour all his anger out on you, and you were just taking it in and not giving boundaries or anything. That could be a lot for somebody to take in. Do you still have issues with that today?
I felt like after that kind of just really like became the pattern of men that I was dating. I just kind of accepted always less than what I really knew that I deserved, because of I wanted them to I always wanted to overcompensate for them. Like I wanted to be there for their problems, that made me feel good. So even though it was negative, you know, a negative relationship, I still felt in a way that me being there was helping them. And definitely today, like, we still talk, and we're trying to work. He's in jail, so just trying to work through that. But I think we're in a different place now than we were then. So I think this has definitely been a setback, though, for me.
We do offer domestic violence counseling as well. That's support as well, if that's something you want to look into, because it seems like you have an area to where you need to learn to love yourself again. You like to make other people happy, to make yourself happy, and like I said, our main goal here today is making you where you want to be in life, successful in the things that you want to do. And that's my main goal here today for you, is for you to love yourself again. Um, what are some values that you hold dearly to you that can help you along this journey?
I feel like my kids are my biggest value. I think they're like the thing that is the driving force to make me want to get clean again.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel like without them, I really wouldn't really feel like I had a purpose. I feel like I've used them as my purpose to want to do better in life. I know I need to do it for myself, but they're definitely the reason why I feel like I need to get clean. I know that they're relying on me, so I value that. And I value the relationship of my mom. I feel like putting all this stress on her has definitely made our relationship strained it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I hold valuable, and I just want to find a way to get that back.
With that being said, what are some goals that you have that you want to get out of this coming to counseling?
I feel like my biggest goal, number one, would be to get my kids back, obviously. And then I feel like another goal would be just to get some stability in my life. My job, I always kind of worked in bars and in hospitality, and I don't think it's a great environment for me. I always find myself, around late night drinking, or, I'm getting off and everybody's just, my kids are asleep, so I want to go out after work. And I think that that's kind of what led me to that. So I want to find a different job. And then I think those are probably my two biggest goals that I want to focus on, and getting help in those areas.
Even everything that you've been through with life, and you still realizing that you have an issue and you're taking the steps in order to eliminate those issues, if you should say, like you're taking the step to disclose yourself from working in a bar and everything because you feel as though that'd be a trigger to you. So those are the first steps in taking and getting help. So you should be happy that you yourself are taking those steps and realizing that this is what I need to do in order to get myself okay.
Right.
What are some things that I can do to help you along this journey?
I think my biggest thing is I definitely want to go to detox again. Hopefully maybe even a short to long-term program so that I can really get on my feet this time.
Okay.
And then also, I don't know if you guys have resources for getting a job, but I would like to find a better outlet for myself in that sense.
Okay. Well, we have the resources to where we can make contact with the detox and get you in, give you some options and let you decide what you want to do. There's also, like I said, there's a job group that we do that helps you build resumes. They have a job outlet that shows you all the jobs that are seeking help right now. We can get you involved with that as well. The main goal is to getting to where you want to be in life and loving yourself so that you can be a good mom, a good daughter, a good person. So we offer, weekly sessions, we offer bi-weekly, monthly. It's whatever you feel comfortable with.
I feel like I definitely would probably want to come weekly afterwards. I think it's a good way for me to check in and make sure that I'm make sure that I'm staying on track. I think that that's what I would want to do at that point.
We can get you scheduled for next week at the same time if you like that.
I think that would be good.
Okay, well, I want to give you some homework to do until next week.
Okay.
I want you to at least say no to 2 people. Do you think you could do that? Or at least try?
Yeah.
So all I'm asking is for you to try and say no. Start with baby steps. And then we'll go from there and we'll discuss more next week. Get you a treatment plan, build you some things that need to be talked about more in depth and everything.
Okay, I really appreciate that.
Thank you for coming in today. and I'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.